What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to our channel. Tonight, we're going to do a quick review for the new Wolfman movie came out, the new Lee Winnell movie. If you don't know Lee Winnell, you kind of do. You probably do. He did The Invisible Man a couple of years ago, and this is his take on the Wolfman. I just saw the movie. Kind of surprised the theater was relatively empty. I went and saw Nosferatu a couple weeks ago. I didn't really make a review on Nosferatu. That theater was packed. I had a really tough time getting tickets. This one was relatively easy to get into and see. I thought this movie was very good. It's an interesting movie, right? When you think about the Wolfman, this is a completely different take on the movie, much like Lee Winnell's take on the Invisible Man was very different than the traditional take on it. A more modernized take. I thought it was a very scary movie. One thing I liked about this movie, and I've seen, I think almost every movie I've seen that's been a horror movie recently has some version of comic relief, and there's no comic relief in this movie. The movie takes place really at the beginning of the movie. There's a father and son. Dad's trying to teach his son survival. They live out in the mountains in Oregon, and there's this rumor that there's this monster creature lives out there that's a man, a hiker that got lost that got this fever. And so we know as the father is seemingly has passed away and his son is coming back to clear his dad's property. He's with his wife and daughter. It looks like in New York. They're having some marital problems. He wants her to go back and see the family farm, the beauty of it, and he has a great relationship with his daughter. So they go back out there. They run into this situation where they get in an accident avoiding something in the road, and then kind of what happens next is the transformation of the Wolfman. As I was watching this movie, I could not help but think the whole time I was watching it, this is a very much a more of even a remake of The Fly from David Cronenberg in like 1986 than it is the Wolfman movie. There's not a full-fledged Wolfman. The transformation takes place along the whole course of the movie. It's very much a slow burn. There's not a huge body count in the movie. But as I was watching the movie and I walked away, it was tense. It was scary. It had really good character dynamics between the father, the wife, and the daughter, which I thought were great. You had this really cool family dynamic that you only really focused on like three people. Yeah, there's some secondary characters in the movie, but they're very short-lived in the movie. It starts out with a really good tense opening, which I love in a horror movie, but none of it's like over the top, right? And the transformation it could be a sickness, right? You don't go from being human into a werewolf. And I think back to like the best werewolf movies, and I think obviously the Lon Chaney movies from back in the 40s where, he would transfer are the gold standard of transformation. And then obviously we had from 1981's American Werewolf in London, which was absolutely astounding. But as I'm watching this and I see this slow metamorphosis of this dad who loves his family changing into this wolf man and fighting it as best as he can, what I thought was really cool too is they show you this internal struggle, right? When you see these monsters, and you see them in movies all the time, and they have this internal struggle and they're trying to maintain their humanity. Well, this shows, like, again, kind of this fever state that he's in as he gets this mountain fever, and he starts to slowly metamorphosize. He starts to lose his ability to communicate with his wife and daughter. You can see every ounce of humanity that's left in him does not want to attack his family, but when the werewolf instincts or the animal instincts start to take it over, he doesn't have any control over it. To me, like I said, I'm pretty happy to do this review because I feel like you've been very negative on a lot of reviews lately, and this one I'm not at all. I think it's a very slow-paced movie. It's a slow burn, but for me, it's an 8 out of 10. The only struggle with this movie, much like The Fly, is I don't know how often I'd watch this movie again because it is very downbeat. It is a slow-paced. There's a lot of body horror. Not a ton of gore, but a lot of body horror. So should be interesting. I would recommend this movie if you haven't seen it. I think it's a well done movie. I think it's scary enough. I think it's very entertaining. I think I said if you like The Fly, I think you'll like this movie. So please check it out. There's a bunch of horror coming out this year. I'm so excited. The trailers have been all over the place. So I can't wait to see, the next few horror movies that are out there and share them with you. If you haven't done so far, please hit that like and subscribe. And as always, stay scary.